Hello and welcome, Tino here, and in my last video I show you all my best templates, but I forgot some very important ones. So in this video we are going to see those templates that I forgot and when to use them. Also, if you like timestamps, please leave them in a comment so I can add them to the description. Thanks in advance, and let's start. And if you didn't see the previous video, check in the description, you will find it there. And let's start with the shock infantry. This template is super cheap because it uses only trucks. You can mass produce trucks and basic artillery. You can produce basic artillery, you put them together and you have kind of self-propelled artillery. And it's super fast. It moves at 12 kilometers per hour. And the trick here is to add a tank that moves very fast. You can use a medium tank. You can use a basic medium tank, an improved basic medium tank. A heavy tank will be even better, but you need a 44 model. That will be great. And add the standard companies, then change the anti-air by the rocket company. It has a lot of breakthrough. And the idea of this battalion is to provide armor, but you are going to be lacking a bit of armor if you use the basic tank chassis from the 38. You are going to be much better using the 3940 model. I did two designs, and this provides the soft attack, this provides the hit points, the anti-air, the armor piercing, and you are lacking only breakthrough, and of course more soft attack will be better. And I made two versions of this template using a tank from the basic template, basic chassis, and you get armor 26. It's not enough just for a little bit. If you use the improved version, you are going to be getting 39. This is enough. Why? Because if you check the templates of a standard enemy infantry units, we are going to see our own infantry units that usually use anti-air. They have a piercing of about 13.9, that is 14. So you need an armor of 28 and above to have full coverage. If not, you are going to be getting partially pierced. So if you use the basic tank design, you are going to be partially piercing against this standard template. And if you use the improved 39 model, you will be much better. So it's a good idea to rush this tank of model. And now let's take a look at the design. We use improved stability transmission for speed. We are going to be using the most expensive wielding. We are going to put all the points in speed, and as long as we keep at 12 kilometers per hour, we are going to spend in armor, and we are going to using slope armor. And since we spend points in armor, we can use the radio to increase a lot our breakthrough. If we don't spend here, the radio is pointless. And I'm using a cheap gun. Why? Because this type of wielding increases the cost of the tank a lot, 20%. If you use this one, minus 20. So the idea is that you do not put like heavy machine guns or anything here, because you are going to be increasing a little bit more than what you should the tank. But since this unit is a breakthrough unit, and if you can, you should always put 2 heavy machine guns to increase the soft attack of the tank. This is much better. I recommend that if you have the money to spend those extra industrial capacity, do it. And now let's go to the basic design. This design is using the basic 38 chassis, and all the same, all super cheap. But in this situation I do not use the radio because I don't have points in armor, so it won't increase much the breakthrough. And here is the same rule: add heavy machine guns if you have the money, but you are going to be paying extra because you have this type of building. These tanks is barely enough because you are going to be getting partially piercing. And how to improve this template a lot. Let's say that you don't have the improved medium tank and you have the basic, and you want to do a deadly template for early war with minimal resources. When you can modify this template easily, you have an armor of 26, and remember that you need 28 to beat the standard enemy infantry with anti-air. That is quite the normal thing on some situations. You can add just 3 light tanks, and let's see what happens. This will make wonders at a very cheap cost, and you remove 2 soft attack artillery. So we are keeping the same combat width, but we are increasing the soft attack. Let's see how much. 46, so we are getting more than 10% punch, some hard attack, but the important thing here is the breakthrough. Take a look at the breakthrough. The breakthrough is the attack, the defense when you are attacking, 78 extra points, so you are going to be a lot more resistant, because probably the enemy has maybe an attack of 230, so you are getting 70 critical hits. By increasing this number of breakthrough to that magical number, you're going to be being safe and taking no critical hits. This is super important. The idea is that as you get more resources, you keep changing the template and giving more light tanks or medium tanks or to whatever you have at hand. And let's go to the next one. And forgot to show you the design for the small tank. I use a close support gun, that is the one that provides the best damage, soft attack, improved transmission, maximum speed, the cheapest wielding, machine gun, all that I can put, the radio for more breakthrough, all the points that I can put here without compromising the speed over the required speed, and standard machine gun. That's all. This is for providing breakthrough and damage, the typical light tank. And now a super strong bastion infantry. This can withstand everything. It's kind of fortress on itself. I use this to play with the Soviet Union at max level against Germany that throws you everything. Also it works at Belgium, Netherlands to stop the Germans from the offensive against France. And how this works, we use here, of course, the standard companies. We use the logistic because it's going to be a fort, it's going to be big. Usually if you play as the Soviet Union, you are going to be having problems of supplies and you want the unit to have no penalties at all, so the logistics help. But the idea is that all these units, even the tank, provide entrenchment bonus. As you can see, the entrenchment is quite high, 17, and each time I add new ones of these ones, the entrenchment keeps going up, 22. So they are super strong. They have a 44% defense, and usually the optimal situation is three lines, 3 brigades of infantry and 2 of the tanks. But you get the idea. These things get better than standard artillery when you use them in numbers. If you use just one, it's not enough because they provide 1 extra point in entrenchment and it's not good enough. If you mass produce them, they are super cheap since you can produce them from 36. You produce in 36 the chassis and then you update with the new gun, and you cannot do that with the howitzers, and that's a huge advantage. But when you start adding more of this one will make this one better, this one will make these 2 better, this one will make all this better, and at some point you will find out that they get more cheaper and efficient than the standard artillery. It has several benefits. One benefit, you are going to be putting much more raw firepower on a standard province, so that is critical to stop Germany, but they are also cheaper than the standard artillery when you compare efficiency. That is the damage that they do. So it's a super win-win. This is the most efficient and cheap defensive template that you can find, but it's only useful if you are playing majors and you have a super strong enemy like the Germans. If you use this template, you are going to be vaporizing enemy units on instant. If they do a force attack against this unit, and I have seen on some gameplays, you are going to be wiping out 100% of the enemy hit points in a couple of hours. So this is the super elite defensive unit. You are going to be seeing this unit dealing damage over, well, this one is going to be reaching maybe 2000 on defense. So imagine that what this thing is going to be doing to the enemy. And this template is quite cheap because I produced this chassis on the 36 and then I update just the cannon. And let me show you the template. Here it is. Oh, sorry. You can use even a pre-war, not this one. Here it is. You can use a basic chassis from the pre-war. I use an improved chassis just to do the template, but if you use a pre-war, you're going to be lowering this cost even more. They will cost almost as the same as a standard artillery. And you put here the fixed turret, so you can use a bigger gun, the medium howitzer. You put the machine gun, you can carry only one, the machine guns, and this thing that you provides extra enrichment. You're going to be getting this thing on the 39 with engineers. So what I do is do a basic model with the interwar chassis with a heavy machine gun and this empty slot. Then I add the gun and this thing, and I mass produce them as an upgrade. And here you use all the cheapest options you have. They are going to be as cheap as an artillery. And now let's go to the next template. And now let's go to the Elite Panzer. I'm not even using force attack, so I'm not at full capacity. Not even using bombers, I think, but the damage is about 3000. This unit can deal about 4k or even a little bit more. If you use planes, it can bypass the 5k, but unfortunately if you use bomber, they are not going to have time for the bombers to reach the location. You are going to be winning early. This one is the template that I have shown previously. It's kind of moves at 12 kilometers per hour, full of tanks. It's a damage dealer. But the point that I want to show you now is how to make your tank templates much cheaper is by replacing some of your tanks by self-propel. That will make the unit much cheaper and you are going to be keeping almost the same conditions. Let me see. I want to use I don't have the design, but if you add here the self-propel artillery, you're going to replace 3 tanks by 2 self-propel artillery. And since you have a lot of breakthrough, you do not really need that much breakthrough. So this is kind of an overkill. If I'm to optimize things, I will remove a lot of medium tanks and start adding artillery, soft artillery, I mean self-propelled artillery that is super cheap and has the same damage that these tanks. You should only need some amount of breakthrough. Let me see the numbers. 300. Well, this number of breakthrough is okay, so 2 full lines of medium tanks is just fine, and add here 1 line of self-propelled artillery. And I think that we arrived to the end, and if you have any question, that will be super nice. And if you want to say hello also, and if you like these videos, if you enjoy, if it was helpful, a like will help me a lot. Thanks for watching and see you on the next one.